Virtual Creative Factory in Colorado.
You've got this one single fruit, the humble tomato. And in Spain, it's at the heart of two traditions that are, well, polar opposites. One is just pure, wild chaos. The other, it's the definition of cool, collected calm. So, how on earth can one little tomato tell two completely different stories? That's what we're here to figure out.
So, on one side, you have the absolute pandemonium of La Tomatina, literally the world's biggest food fight. And on the other, you have the quiet elegance of gazpacho, this beautiful chilled soup that just screams Spanish summer. One is all about throwing tomatoes, the other is about sipping them. It's a total paradox.
It just doesn't seem to add up, right? How can these two things, a wild food fight and a refined soup, both spring from the very same cultural soil? Well, that is the big question, the mystery we're going to solve together in this explainer.
Okay, so let's dive into the chaos first. We're heading to a small town called Buñol to really get the story behind the world's most famous and probably messiest festival.
You know, what's so fascinating is how this whole thing started. It wasn't some ancient tradition. Nope. It kicked off in 1945 because of a random street scuffle that got out of hand near a vegetable stand. It got so popular and so rowdy that it was actually banned in the 50s. But, and this is the best part, the locals protested in the most amazing way possible. They held a funeral for the tomato. I'm talking a full-on parade with a coffin and everything. And you know what? It worked. Today, it's this huge official event.
And the scale of this thing, it's just mind-boggling. We're talking about 120 tons of tomatoes. That's over 250,000 pounds of fruit, all chucked through the streets in just 1 hour. It's a sight to behold for sure. Now you might be thinking it's just total anarchy, but believe it or not, La Tomatina's rules. The most important one? You gotta squash the tomatoes before you throw them. This is a food fight, not a brawl. And yes, no tearing of t-shirts is an actual official rule, which I'm guessing gets tested every single year.
And to really get the weird, quirky spirit of the festival, you have to hear what happens before any tomatoes are even thrown. They put up this tall, greased pole with a giant leg of ham at the top. And then thousands of people try to scramble up it to grab the prize. It's slippery, it's chaotic, and it is absolutely hilarious to watch. It's the perfect warm-up for the main event.
All right, let's do a complete 180. We're leaving the sticky, red-soaked streets of Buñol, and we're heading into the cool, calm, and collected world of Spain's most famous soup, gazpacho.
So what is gazpacho, really? Well, at its core, it's a cold soup. It's this beautiful, smooth blend of raw vegetables, and it's basically a national treasure in Spain. It's the perfect, most refreshing answer to a scorching hot summer day in Andalusia.
Now, unlike the sudden, chaotic start of La Tomatina, gazpacho has these really deep, humble beginnings. It started out as just a super practical meal for field workers. They called it a liquid salad. Think about it. They needed something that was hydrating, packed with nutrients, and easy to make while they were working out in the blazing sun.
And the ingredients totally reflect those humble roots. We're talking about the best of what the land has to offer. Ripe tomatoes, cucumber, peppers, garlic, onion. Stale bread is actually the secret weapon for texture, and it all gets brought together with some good olive oil and a splash of sherry vinegar. It's just so simple, fresh, and pure.
And this is why gazpacho is so much more than just a recipe. It's a powerful symbol of the culture down in Andalusia. It tells a story about the land, about using every bit of the harvest, and about a way of life that's been shaped by the climate for centuries.
Okay, so we have a wild tomato fight and a classy cold soup. On the surface, they could not seem more different. But here is where their two stories slam right into each other in a really, really surprising way.
The first thing, and honestly the most important connection, tackles that big question everyone has about La Tomatina. Isn't it an insane waste of food? Well, the answer is no. And the reason why is the key that unlocks this whole paradox.
Get this, both the festival and the soup were born from the exact same thing, agricultural surplus. They both use the same kind of tomatoes, the ones that are overripe, a little ugly, the low-quality ones you can't sell at the market. So one tradition smashes them for fun and the other blends them for food. They're both a reaction to the Spanish summer, a way to celebrate the harvest. And at their heart, they're both all about community.
When you take a step back, you start to see that this isn't really just about tomatoes at all.
This duality, this ability to be both explosively passionate and soulfully still, that's a defining feature of Spanish culture itself.
And that's really the main takeaway here. They aren't opposites that are fighting each other. They're just two different ways of expressing the same passionate, vibrant, and incredibly resourceful spirit. One is loud, one is quiet, but both are just quintessentially Spanish.
You know, you can actually see the same paradox in other parts of Spanish culture. Just think about flamenco. You have the cante, the song, which is this deep, soulful cry full of history and sorrow, and then you have the baile, the dance, which is this explosive, joyous, life-affirming celebration. It's the exact same blend of deep feeling and wild expression that we see in the Tomatoes' Two Tales.
So, from a crazy food fight and a cool summer soup, we find this really profound cultural truth. Both came from the same red fruit, and both reveal a nation that just embraces its contradictions with so much passion. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What are the surprising opposites that define your own culture?